Hello, I have at last got my hands on another keyboard. Sorry it's been quite a while since I've done a keyboard video. It's what I can get hold of. But anyway, this is the Korg Poly 800 and this came out in 1984. Now there was two versions of these. This is the first version. The second version, I believe that included something like reverb in the effects. This didn't have that. And I think there was a lot more control over the MIDI, because the MIDI on this, it was the very early days of MIDI, so it was quite limited. You couldn't give it sysx messages and things. And if you wanted to make sounds and save them, you would have to do them through a tape, which meant recording an actual audio sound, which wasn't too bad really. You could still use it today. You just line it into your DAW and save it as an audio track. But anyway, this was nice and cheap off the car boot sale, £10, bargain. And of course, for £10, it doesn't work. But saying that, I've wired it up, I've given it some power, and it does actually say tape. It lights up and says tape. So I'm wondering if it's just waiting for its initial dump of program before it'll do anything, because it does make a sound. It makes a few clicks and a few sort of squawks occasionally, but that's about it. So I'm wondering if it's lost all its internal memory and maybe there's a dead battery in there, even though some of the very early ones apparently didn't even have a battery on board. So I'll find out once I open this up just how early this is, and hopefully if it's just down to the fact that it's lost all its memory, I found a place on the internet that has that initial audio program, if you like, and I'm going to try and load that in and see if I can bring this back to life. Now I've got the audio file, the wave, for the factory reset of the Poly 800. It's reasonably easy to find online, and here's a cassette recorder, and just tried it. It does actually work. Well, I think it does. Lights up anyway. And a cassette. Look at that. BBC. Some people know that as the Bias Broadcasting Corporation. Anyway, I'm going to record this onto an actual cassette and then plug the cassette into the Poly 800 and see if I can load up the factory sounds. Yep, that sounds like it's going to be okay. Right, plug this into the keyboard now and see what happens. I've got the lead going to the in, or the from, on the Poly 800, and it will be the white one that I require because that's the actual tip, the pin, and this is a mono input, so the white lead should be fine for that. If I just plug in the red one, basically it'll just be shorting the signal to the ground. So the white now goes into the line out on there, and this is in mono, and switch on. Need that to say tape. Okay, and we're going to load and play. And now it says good. Good! Hey! Or does that mean it works? I hope so. Alright, switch that off, put that to one side. Unplug that. And then switch this back over. Where's that button? See if it makes any sounds now. Well, it wasn't that good. It's still not making any sounds. Oh well. No, nothing. Just a very, very slight sort of background noise again. So what's the problem? Would it be program? Is that what I'm looking for? No, there's nothing there. Just lots of sort of background noise. Oh dear. Okay, even though that said good, obviously the signal was good, but there's going to be another fault with this somewhere. So only one thing left to do. Open it up and have a look. Oh, I've just realised there's only four screws in this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 screws missing out of it. Oh dear, that means somebody's been in here before me. It looks a little bit mucky in here. Now on the board here, you can see there's 2 pads there that should hold the original battery. So the battery would normally sit here on this board, and instead it's been put over here by somebody with not the greatest soldering skills, but it is holding. It's okay. Now I'm just going to check between here and here to see if there's a connection. I guess it would be. Just so that would be the positive there. Where's the positive on here? Yeah, that's okay. And that would be the negative. Yeah, okay. So it's fine that that battery's there. It's flapping around in the breeze a little bit, but that holder, or rather there would be a soldered down battery, and it would actually live there on the board. But it looks like it's never been soldered onto. So whether the manufacturer put that there, I really don't know. Right, okay, carry on. I'll put the battery in and fire it up and see if I can get it to hold its factory settings. Right. Okay. Yeah, it's sort of flapping around there, and when this is closed up, it could be touching this here. So I'll put a piece of tape over there as well, in case it touches the bottom of this circuit board. So let me just rerun the cassette back into this and see what happens. Now it says good, so I'm assuming that it's sent in the factory reset command. Let's have a listen. No, nothing. And all it's doing is making those erroneous noises again. So let me try and get back into the circuit again. I'll take this battery off, which actually it feels warm. That battery actually feels a little bit warm. So something's not right there. Okay, I'm going to unscrew this actual circuit board here and just get it up and have a look around, because I've noticed, I'll try and zoom in with the camera in a moment, there's a lot of resistors here that look like they're all cracked and starting to fall to pieces, and some of them look like they've got slight battery acid damage, even though there's no battery up here. There's a few areas on the board that's been scratched away. probably somebody trying to find a fault in the track somewhere. There's another screw there. I'll just flip this over. Now, oh my. What the hell is this? Let me just zoom the camera down to this here. It's interesting. You see this wire here? It's a component that hasn't been soldered in. And the leads to it are just laying across other parts of the track. So it's actually shorting out some of the circuitry here. I mean, what is that component? See, somebody has been trying to repair this, but that is terrible. Oh no, if you put a component in, you've got to solder it in. You can't just leave its leads flapping in the breeze, as Dave Jones would say, flapping in the breeze. What is it? It's a diode. There's a little diode here that's been pushed in, and then the leads have just been folded so it just rests across the rest of the circuit board. Oh my god, that's oh no, oh please, that's terrible. And it's on the power line as well. So what could have possibly happened here is this has been powered up. This is supposed to be a protection diode, I'm guessing by the tracks coming from the power plug here. So this is going to be a protection diode, but power is going to run in there and just randomly go off around the board to all the wrong places, and that might be one of the reasons why this is having a problem. I'll solder that down, but I really don't think that's going to make any difference, because I think that's probably caused some damage, irreparable damage, somewhere else around the board. I mean, there's all these chips and things here that eventually link up down to this area, all the audio side of it, and look, the power is just, it's just touching and connecting to everything. No wonder the thing just buzzed, just made a buzzing sound all the time. Oh dear. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to save this. I should really check that all the screws are in something before I buy it. I mean, when the screws are missing, somebody else has already been in there, and you just don't know. The sort of engineers who do this sort of thing, you don't know what else is going to be wrong with it. There's been some soldering going off up here. Do you know, I've lost faith in the hope of getting this to work just by simply looking at those few faults on there. Now, I've spent another hour just checking around this board with the oscilloscope, and there's erroneous readings coming from everywhere. I found out there's 4 volts coming out of the left channel output, a continuous 4 volts DC, which if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have plugged it into my mixer, but there it is. The right channel, there's 0.5 volt, the left channel 4 volts, continuous DC. Anyway, on top of that, the voltage regulators, this one is actually too hot to touch. It's very, very hot, and because that diode, the leads were lying across the board, I think it's destroyed something further on. Especially this chip here is the Korg M5232. Now that is the waveform generator that makes all the waveforms and bits and pieces. Now there's a clock signal running in, but there's no clock signal coming back out. In fact, there's nothing coming out of this at all. Even when I'm pressing the keys, switching the keys, and I've even tried dialing in different things, nothing's coming out of it apart from the clock that's going in on this pin here. So that chip alone costs about £35, and to spend £35 on changing that chip and then realizing, well, it's something else that destroyed that chip anyway, what's the point? There's no point in buying it. There's no point in going any further, especially as when you look around some of these chips here, the legs of them are starting to go rusty. some of these resistors are actually falling apart. If you push them, they'll start to break and crack. They are going rusty as well. Now, I have found that on the surface there's a sort of a very sticky dust. I mean, it feels gooey, and I don't know if that is allowing power to move across the board and things, but it's not good. It's actually sticky. It's the sort of thing like if you got Coca-Cola or beer on a circuit board, it would actually conduct slightly. The EEPROM here is spurting out data. It looks completely random, but I don't know what it's supposed to. I don't know what the data is supposed to look like, but there's just data coming out in strange bursts every now and again. These chips along here are doing nothing. They are dead. But other than that, I know when I'm beaten, and this is just not worth the hours and hours of work and the possibility of having to change quite a lot of money's worth of microchips and things. It's not worth it. It's a Korg Poly 800. Yes, it's a nice old synth. It has history behind it and things, but sometimes you've got to know when you're beaten and give up, because I could spend a lot of money trying to repair this and it will just never be worth that amount of money. Somebody's already been in, somebody's already tried to repair it before me. They failed, and sadly I failed as well. I know when I'm beaten, and this time I've been beaten. So thanks very much for watching. All the best. I'll try and get another video up as soon as possible. Bye.